But the US Census Bureau does project that the 85 plus demographic will grow nearly 200% by 2060. So that means that when you reach 50, assuming access to good healthcare, you probably have half of your life ahead of you. People are living longer lives and they're working into their 70s and they are contributing to the economy. So there's so much in this space that we all have to really take a look at. And as you look at this slide and you see what the 50 plus have spent on goods and services, I want to provide some information. I'm not going to read through all the bullets, but as you read through them, here's some things to keep in mind. The size of the market means massive purchasing power. As people live longer and they have healthier lives, they are contributing to communities and fueling this economic growth well past the traditional retirement age because they're living longer. We're working to change the perception that everybody 50 plus has the same lifestyle because nothing could be further from the truth. They are working, they are volunteering, they are contributing, they are diverse, and they may be from 4 generations maybe, and they're fueling all these global economies and jobs, contributing to the economic growth and opportunity for all. So spending by the people 50 plus amounted to about 8.3 trillion in 2018. That's 56 cents of every dollar spent. That will grow to 26.8 trillion by 2050. So about 61 cents to every dollar. 44% of all jobs were held or created by people 50 plus, representing 88.6 million jobs. And this is projected to grow 101.7 million jobs by 2050. The wages and salaries generated by people 50 plus were 5.7 trillion in 2018 and are projected to grow 17.7 trillion by 2050. So these numbers show the opportunity and the power of the 50 plus. These aren't the people that are just staying home, taking care of their grandkids. They're out there and they're doing things.
Right. And I think that that's something that there is this misconception, right? That once you hit 50 or once you're in that 50 plus zone, that you're a grandma, you're not spending money. But these numbers show that this is a viable, demographic that the advertisers should be paying attention to because they have the buying power, like you said, and they are living longer and they're working longer. So I think that that's a great aha moment for myself when I was looking at these numbers. And I even had a moment this weekend when I spoke to you earlier. Obviously we're all getting older, and one of the things was my brother mentioned, he was like, oh yeah, I'm 50. I was like, oh my gosh, you're 50, you already turned 50. But then I told him, I was like, don't forget, our dad is 87, which is a beautiful thing, and again is showing that we are living longer, so you have almost half of your life to go. So it's a great thing that we're understanding that we are contributing, the older demographic is contributing to the economy, working longer, and it's someone that they shouldn't be ignored by advertisers.
Absolutely, and they are living longer, so they are making more contributions. That's a great point, and happy birthday to your brother. So on this slide, AARP conducted a survey on attitudes in 2019, and it showed a lot of different things. It showed that 70% of the Hispanic Latino audience, they feel that life is more meaningful at 50. They report that reaching 50 is a very important milestone, and they're happy about it. 57% feel that 50 is still young, right? And so this Spanish dominant, there's Spanish dominant, 81% of the Latinos, and they speak Spanish at home. So it's very important, although they're bilingual, it was eye-opening even for me to see that 81% of them do prefer to speak Spanish at home. And they're staying in the workplace, they are employed, and the purchasing power of the Hispanic Latinos 50 plus is also expected to increase 26.7 trillion by 2050. So there is a lot of growth. And again, this is just a market that we should not ignore, especially marketers, people in non-for-profits, people that are, developing products and services for the Latino community. It's a very powerful segment.
And that leads us to our next discussion. So obviously, Thank you for enlightening us and letting us know exactly, the buying power of the 50 plus, demographic. So do you feel that in terms of their representation in media, do you feel that they are represented in media? I think to myself, like when I think about what you see as advertisers out there in terms of commercials and things, it's always really marketed to that millennial group or that 18 to 49, 25, 49. So how can we make sure that we're including this demographic, like you mentioned, that has this incredible buying power, that's living longer, that's working longer, that probably have half of their life ahead of them. So how can we make sure that they're represented in the media?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to really take a look at the data. I showed a lot of numbers, and there's a lot of good information out there. The census also has it. AARP has a lot of studies that we've done. But the answer to that is that advertisers and marketers are missing out on opportunities to invest their resources in categories that the 50 plus truly care about. And this slide was put together by a session that happened at Cannes in 2019, but we use it at AARP because it just shows a lot, and it kind of goes to the question that you asked. So despite all of the spending that you've seen, 70% of advertisers have never received or written a brief in the last year that included the 50 plus in any way, shape, or form. I'm hoping this is 2019 data, that with the pandemic, this may have changed because the most vulnerable populations, were the 50 plus. But this is 2019 data, but it does kind of like set the stage. And, of the 30% that have, almost 65% of those briefs were for health and wellness, finance, and pharma campaigns. Meanwhile, there's so many other areas that are really contributing to profitability. And that's where advertisers really need to care. So they truly need to care about the different categories that are exploding amongst these 50 plus communities. So how are Latinas represented? We did a study at AARP, and we did it at the end of 2020 into 2021 to really see what Latinas were feeling, mostly about beauty and wellness. And so the study that we launched was called Mirror Mirror. And marketers view the Hispanic Latino 50 plus as an afterthought rather than prime focus on millennials or Gen Z. Wellness and beauty brands are missing a market opportunity to reach these women 50 plus because they feel underrepresented, misrepresented, reinforcing outdated stereotypes. And these women of all ages, they want to see a mix of ages represented in advertising. They want solutions to address the unique experiences, needs, and values. So for the advertising industry, this is a really big aha, that they're expecting more, they want to see themselves represented, and they want to make sure that their brand, that your brand, the advertiser's brand, really resonates with them. So this slide leads with overall responses of the women in the Mirror Mirror study. And it shows the similarities in percentages, even when broken down by Latinas and Black women. So for example, 86% of 50 plus women in general say that their age is underrepresented in ads. For Latinas 50 plus, it's 86. And for African and Black American women, it's 80%. And then there's a mix of ages. 81% of women 50 plus prefer to buy from brands that feature a mix of ages in their brands. And that's 87 for Latinas and 81% for Black women. So take a look at the similarities. So it tells you that, women in general are not feeling represented. And in terms of Latinas, they feel underrepresented and not accurately portrayed by beauty brands. The marketplace has the opportunity to create more products and solutions for women as they age. Latinas, as you know, we come in all shades, shapes, and sizes, and we want to see ourselves represented as such. There's an opportunity for brands to benefit from more authentic advertisements that feature older women. And later on, I'll let you know some of the things that AARP is doing, but this is something that we hear not only in this study, but I think in other studies that I've seen other advertisers do. And it's a missed opportunity. I feel like it's leaving money at the table with the 50 plus.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in general, I think as Latinas or, in that category, in any category, we want to be represented. And, when you're seeing maybe like commercials or advertisements and they're only focusing on a younger demographic or someone that really doesn't look like you just miss that connection that you can have with, with the possible consumer. So I think this is incredible in terms of what the research is showing, that they need to feel that representation, and advertisers need to take, note of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in terms of media and brand engagement, this is data that's provided by one of our research partners at AARP GFK, and it highlights how these Latina women engage with media and brands. As I had mentioned in an earlier slide, Spanish language does resonate regardless of the acculturation. Over 2 in 3 Hispanic Latina women 50 plus watch Spanish language networks, and they appreciate when companies use Spanish to connect with them. They are active online, and as we all know, there's an over-index when it comes to digital, social, and mobile channels amongst Hispanics in general, and they equate brand with quality. So this slide just gives you that aha, that they are watching not only general market, English preferred TV, but the Spanish preferred are also, going to their Telemundos and Univision. So it's important to have a mix. It's important to really look at the market pretty holistically if you want to capture the lion's share.
So going in, obviously, you gave us so much information in terms of, just some of the demographics, some of the research in terms of the numbers as to why this demographic is so important, some of the representation in terms of media and why they shouldn't be an afterthought or they shouldn't be just a nice to have. Now, tell me a little bit about AARP and their, Salud, Dinero y Amor initiative, which by the way, I love that catchphrase. It's one of the catchphrases that I grew up as a kid always hearing from my parents, Salud, Dinero y Amor. So would love to hear a little bit of how AARP really engages with this 50 plus, demographic with the Salud, Dinero y Amor platform.
Sure. So the key messaging pillars of all the work targeted to the Hispanic Latino audience at AARP is really based on the 3 pillars of Salud, Dinero y Amor, health, wealth, and love. Because think about it, without any of those 3, you can't reach a fuller life. And I've just shown all this data on the 50 plus, how people are living longer. So the work that we're doing at AARP is to really help people in all of these 3 pillars so they can live a longer life, a healthier life, with more secure with their finances, and taking care of their mental health and their brain health. Very, very important. So the next several slides are just going to show some highlights of each of these pillars and some findings that we did from a GFK study about the 50 plus. And this happened during the pandemic. And as you can notice, the pattern here, a lot of the data that I've shown are for Latina women, mostly because they are the CEOs of the household.
Absolutely.
They are the ones making the decisions, and they are the one leading not only maybe their older parents in their multi-generational household, but their millennials, their grandkids. And so we know that this is the target that's really making all of the major decisions in the household. So in terms of, hold on, I messed up my slides a little bit here. So in terms of identity, culture, these women, the data will show that women have a strong and confident mindset. They are ambitious, they are entrepreneurial, and they are daring. Over the past 10 years, the number of Latino business owners grew 34% compared to 1% for all business owners in the USA. And I also saw some data in other sources that showed how many women who were not working picked up entrepreneurial jobs, and they just picked up on different things. So nothing really stops them. And family continues to be important, enjoying life in the present, working to make leisure time possible. Self-care time is high at 72. So this information may help marketers, when planning culturally relevant campaigns, development of new products and services, and coaching amongst other things. But they're very optimistic, and they're always looking ahead. So on salud, they have reported stress, anxiety, and great sadness at higher rates during the pandemic. On a physical and mental health, they have a lot of aspirations. Like many Americans, these women are looking to improve their physical health and mental well-being. Remember, if they are not well, they cannot take care of their household. So this is a very important point. And these women are also staying free from disease. They're staying physically mobile. They're keeping mentally alert and on top of their health goals. And this data indicates that there is information that can help, to develop products and services that may be helpful to Latinas, those that may do coaching or helping women improve in different life skills. Understanding this can really help them. I think once you have data, it's easier to plan and develop different things, especially for women. And then in terms of their economic mood and financial concerns, for the 50 plus Latinas, the economic uncertainty was high even before COVID-related economic woes. Just take a look at some of the numbers that show, how confident they were in buying. And then during COVID, how much it dropped to that 9%. And so financial planning is of interest, but many do not engage with professional services. And we know this, especially if we come from multi-generational homes, and some of our parents and grandparents kind of like live in the moment, and they're not planning and looking ahead, and they don't know how to ask for help. And sometimes they may feel that they don't need the help. And so these majority of women keep close tabs on their finances. More than 4 in 10 are interested in finance or learning about it. A lot of times they just don't know where to go. A lot of times there's also a language barrier, and they're not sure like which websites to go. And trust is also a very big thing in this space. Yet they're half as likely to have a retirement account. And I showed you this data, which tells you that they are living longer. So this is so important. Only 8% have worked with various types of financial advisors over the past year. So this shows another opportunity for financial services and educational opportunities to help women plan the retirement journey. And remember, when they plan, they're also planning, for their household and their loved ones. So a lot of the data that I've showed just paints the picture that, this is not an audience that is at home, that is doing nothing. They are active, they're out there in their community, they're spending, they are traveling, and they are contributing positively to the economy. So before I close, let me share some things that we're doing at AARP to debunk the misconceptions on aging. It is imperative that we correct damaging perceptions about what aging is in this country, and as we fight age discrimination. Every single day at AARP, we work to empower people to choose how they live as they age. A couple of years ago, we noticed in our brand team that when we wanted to find images in our community state teams, wanted to really find representation of different people, especially the multicultural audiences, we noticed that in Getty Images, there really wasn't representation for the 50 plus. And so the AARP team partnered with Getty Images to develop a Disrupt Aging collection. And when we did our analysis of stock images, it showed that while nearly half of the US adult population is over 50, only 15% of images at that time contained adults that were 50 plus. So, and the photos tended to exaggerate some stereotypical and outdated physical attributes. So in working with Getty Images to change this, the outcome is that the images now show people interacting with technology in the workplace, pursuing a variety of hobby and interests, because this is a very active age group, and representation matters. But we can't be the only ones doing the work. You know, we have to work on this together collectively. AARP is also part of AIM, the Alliance for Inclusive and Multicultural Marketing, which is part of the ANA, and it champions inclusive marketing. Our CMO serves on one of the advisory boards, and just recently, we promoted our SVP, who was in multicultural leadership. She was promoted to a newly created department, the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, of which I am a part of. And she is the new Chief Diversity Officer. Her name is Edna Kane Williams, whom I report to. And part of her work is to combat age discrimination by championing age inclusivity, along with her team's work to serve multicultural audiences and to work to address health and financial disparities. And so you can see at AARP every day we're doing different things, being innovators in aging, and really taking a pulse of what the 50 plus needs, so we can help provide information, resources, and also partner with other third parties, you know, different community partners. I mentioned Getty Images as one big example, but we're doing this every single day. And my hope is that after you've seen this presentation, you see this opportunity for the 50 plus audience in general, and are now more informed about the 50 plus Hispanic Latinos who are a growth segment and are making an impact in many important industries.
Thank you so much, Yvette. Like you said, I think for myself, it was an aha moment in terms of all the data that you were able, to present and show in terms of why, this, demographics shouldn't be an afterthought or just a nice to have. Like you said, we're living longer, which is a beautiful thing, and they're working longer, so they have that buying power. So again, I think it's something that advertisers need to understand, that it's a demographic that should be included. They're just not grandmas and grandpas. They're a vital source to the U.S. economy.
Absolutely, that's why we have to debunk those stereotypes, because they're active. They're not just at home with the grandkids. They are, and a lot of them, some of the data shows, a lot of them are working through their 70s. And a lot of it is due to the fact that they may not have enough in retirement.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head when you mentioned that about retirement. I think that is one segment where, just in general as a whole, I think not only the Latino population, but I think everyone just needs to kind of maybe focus a little bit more in terms of, on their future, on that retirement. So that's something where there is, big opportunity there with the Hispanic population.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, we try to uncover that, by doing all of this research. AARP is so data rich, partnering with different organizations and people, because it's important for us to also have products and services. We are a membership driven organization, having products and services for the 50 plus. Also we have a lot of information that I can share as well. A lot of our websites, I'd love to show this, AARP.org, AARP in Espanol, information in English and Spanish, in the areas of health, wealth, and self, and also fun and fulfillment and entertainment. We are on Facebook as well, AARP in Espanol. Aliados Adelante has all of our advocacy, work in Spanish. Facebook, AARP also has a page, and we're also on Twitter. So it's important that people who want to find out more information, take a look at the things that we're doing. Our website just have us a wealth of information in both languages. And there's also, areas for you to put comments. And if anybody also wants to reach me, I can also, make the right connections. We have a whole team focused on the longevity economy, focused on age discrimination. We have our litigation lawyers fighting discrimination every single day. And so this is what we do. This is what we do, because we know it's important to give, our 50 plus community support. And then this last slide just has, some of the links to a lot of the research studies that I referenced, and other things on how to plan your money. We have a retirement calculator. And all of this is on AARP.org and AARP.org/Espanol. So if anybody has any questions or wants to find information or want to share information with their different communities, we have a lot of information here. And also I'd be happy to connect with anyone who may want some support.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for such an informative presentation. We also have the presentation available. You know, if anybody would like to view it or needs any of that kind of that research to help fight their case in terms of why the 50+ demographic should be included in any of their plans, please feel free, you know, to reach out and let us know how we can help you. I am going to see, I think we have some questions. Let's see here. All right. I have a question. Did AARP use any agencies in their work to create their Hispanic marketing tools?
Yes, yes. So our current agency of record is República Havas, and we work with MediaCom to do our media. So those are the two current agencies of record who are doing our work. We also have a lot of partners. You know, when we do the research, we make sure that we have researchers that can also do a lot of our Hispanic marketing. There are just a lot of different partners within AARP, but yes, we do make sure that we work with organizations who really understand the market and understand the consumers.
Perfect. Yes, it was MediaCom and República Havas was the other agency that Yvette mentioned that they work with. I'm not sure. Is there any other questions? I have a question. So Yvette, I know that you've been at AARP for, you know, for a long time. Like, what was one of the things that, you know, ignited this passion in terms of be a part of this team? And I've seen you grow so much within the company and this, you know, inclusion and which is a beautiful thing that AARP is doing.
Well, what drove me to AARP was the social mission aspect. You know, I'm a marketer at heart. It's what I've done my entire career, but I wanted to give back. You know, this was an opportunity for me to really give back and give my Latino community information. And I didn't have to sell them anything because I work for the non-for-profit side. And the passion is ignited because I call it heart work. You know, what I do is everything that I do impacts a life in a very positive way in the area of salud, dinero y amor, whether it be by speaking here today, by putting something out on Facebook, by doing a TV commercial, you know, by, you know, our wonderful state teams putting out information that we have out there, you know, for the community, our partnership with so many social mission organizations, you know, Hispanic Federation, the National Hispanic Council on Aging, the Hispanic Heritage Foundation, LULAC. There's just so many organizations that we're doing the same thing. We're helping people, providing information to the community. You know, AARP, we are the largest lobbyist organization as well. So we're out there fighting for the rights of Latinos. And, you know, through our foundation, you know, our litigation lawyers really looking at cases and defending. So what drove me to do this work is really the hard work, you know, and that I can finally give back to the Latino community and do it full time.
That's beautiful. So it's great because like not only you're helping the community and engaging with this community, is there, you know, obviously we spoke about, you know, media representation and how, you know, there's a missed opportunity. Is there a marketer out there, you know, obviously besides AARP that you think is doing it well or doing it right in terms of connecting with that 50+ demographic?
I'll tell you, I always look at Target. I think Target is a gold standard because they do understand that the general market includes multicultural audiences, and they go out and they do it as such. You go into the store and you feel represented. You see the ads in English and in Spanish, and you feel represented. I just feel that they have a good pulse. I've seen a lot of Ford ads as well. You know, there's a lot of car companies out there that really lead with cultural insights. They really understand what's important. And they know that if they want to reach the Latino community, they have to do it in English and they have to do it in Spanish. One ad that I particularly love is the Cheetos Bad Bunny ad.
Oh yes, it's a great one.
Think about it. He's speaking in Spanish. You know, he does reggaeton. The commercial is in English, is on, you know, Latino channels. It's in English. It comes on often. It highlights the nuance. And the general market may not know, you know, people who are not Latino or non-ethnic may not know who Bad Bunny is, but he makes a statement and he's used. So you need to be bold and do it. So I think that Cheetos ad right now is one that stands out because I think it's so well done.
I agree. I think that is one of the ones that when I see the ad, I love it because he's speaking in Spanish and he, you know, the commercial is running on English language networks. And I love that they have the translation there. Again, you know, I remember seeing an interview with J Balvin that he said, no, I don't want to have people, I don't want to cross over to English. I want them to cross over to me, to, you know, to my language. So I thought that was great in terms of how Cheetos did that. I have another question. Any other ads you think are doing a great job with Hispanics? Well, I think, like you mentioned, I think the Cheetos one did a great job. I love the Corona one. Did you see the recent Corona one with Snoop Dogg actually and Bad Bunny again? He's very popular.
Yes.
So that was another one that I think that they did a great job in terms of not only, you know, targeting the Hispanic community, but also, you know, kind of targeting the African American mainstream, you know, community as well.
Yeah, another one that I saw, I think this morning, was the Luis Fonsi one, and I think it's Ford. I hope I'm not messing up the brand, but Luis Fonsi Despacito, because whoever doesn't know the song Despacito must be living under a rock.
Yes, I agree.
but that they used him, and it's such a cool ad, and just because and it also shows the power of YouTube, right? You know, and videos, how many times that video was viewed. It broke all kinds of records, yet he is on mainstream TV in prime time, and there is a response. So we need to start doing more of that and being bold about it. You know, bring it to your team and say, you know, we need to lead with insights and also understanding this digital, social, mobile, the power of all of these mediums. And that's, you know, how Responsi, besides, you know, the downloads and whatnot, but video also helped what happened with that song.
Absolutely. You know, and then just talking about that, another one that I think does a great job is the Modelo ads as well, when they talk about, you know, being bold and, you know, and being a part of the crowd. So I think they do a great job when they're focusing on you know, on Hispanic, whether I remember the DJ one that they did, that she was a police officer and she decided to, you know, go and follow her being a DJ, and she's one of the top DJs now. So I think that's incredible in terms of those showcases that they do as well. And it's just doing that, making sure that you're connecting with the community in an authentic way. I think that speaks highly and builds that trust that you mentioned in terms of the Hispanic community that we need to try to work.
Absolutely, and I have to toot my own horn. You know, AARP is really come along in terms of making sure that, like, for example, when the coronavirus hit, we were supposed to launch a new campaign. And I'm speaking about this because the results were pretty wonderful. And so we launched a coronavirus campaign, really educating Latinos and providing them services. And, you know, we had an English language website on coronavirus. I would say it took a week to get something very similar for the Latino community. There was a talking head commercial in English and Spanish, and the one in English was done by our CEO, Joanne Jenkins. Mm-hmm. And I had the honor and pleasure of being the voice for the Latino community. And, you know, it was a simple message talking about coronavirus and providing people with resources, and it won multiple awards last year. We didn't do it for the awards, we did it for the information, because if you ask me, what I do is I provide information and resources to empower my Latino community to live as they age. So I think we really find what the Latinos need. We lead with cultural relevance, and we get the information out. And we did that so quickly with a brand new agency. As I mentioned, it was República Havas. And, you know, it was a campaign that was done in a couple of months, but the purpose was to get it out and get the information out there. So I have to mention that because this type of work really impacted lives during the coronavirus pandemic.
And that's incredible that AARP is doing that. Like you mentioned, it's just that connection and empowering the community, informing the community, especially through the pillars that you mentioned, salud, dinero, y amor, which is incredible. Yeah. I don't know if anyone has any additional questions. Me and Yvette can keep talking about this all the time. Hey, Andrew. I think you're on mute, Andrew. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, Andrew's on mute.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, you're on mute.
Thanks, Yvette. I was like, thank God. It's so nice to see you. And it's like, I can't wait to see you in person as well, too. I know next week we'll have to catch up and for sure. But thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. As you can see, I have a lot of passion for this work.
Always.
And thank you so much, Andrew, for the opportunity. Zulema, I've made a new friend, una nueva amiga. Thank you so much for working with me on this and for letting me tell the story of the 50 plus.
Which is an incredible story.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So now I want to welcome to the stage Rogelio Magaña Shoemaker, the Director of Marketing and Advertising at Burger King. So excited to have Rogelio on with us here. And I think we're both speaking from the wonderful world of South Florida. I joked earlier with Rogelio because he's living in my old building in downtown Miami. So I'm like, God, I wish I was younger sometimes, but now I'm in wonderful, community with a kid. So you grow up and you move on. But thanks so much again, Rogelio, for joining us. As we spoke earlier, like when we first started getting to know each other, we were talking about Burger King's, customer journey for Hispanics. And, I thought that was pretty cool and interesting was that when our conversation pivoted to like how Burger King had its own journey, right, of understanding the Hispanic consumer. And I was just wondering if you can take us through maybe the process on what that journey has been like for you as a brand marketer, but which is nice to see that you are, Mexican American and being in Burger